Hey, welcome to the Buck Brief. We are very fortunate to be joined by our friend Mike Slater, who we have known here for, I don't know, like a decade now. It's been a long time, Mike. Been in the game a while. Tell everybody what you're up to these days, just so they know who it is that we are talking to.
Buck, are we getting old?
Maybe. Yeah.
I saw,
you're kind of going Silver Fox over there, buddy. I haven't seen you in a while.
I know.
You know what I mean? You were
I know.
blonde when we met. You were like surfer dude, San Diego blonde, and now, you know what I mean? You're like the you're not John Hamm. You're looking like the other guy from Mad Men, whatever his name is. I'm talking about.
Yeah, this is 4 kids, and I just had a haircut the other day, so it was looking very gray all over the floor. You're like, when did this happen? I saw a billboard for a home and garden show coming to town, and I was like, oh, that looks really good. I should go to that. That looks fun. I was like, oh wait, pretty old. Fucking high. Getting old, man. Home and garden show seems like a fun way to spend your Saturday. I don't know. I'm doing all sorts of stuff. I think about you all the time, Buck, because there was a time, and I don't know, it's maybe still the case for you, but there was a certain time when you were doing so much stuff. It was crazy. And I remember talking to producer Matt over at The First, and I was like, it was when I found out that you were doing another hour on The First TV. And I was like, wait, that's a different hour on top of on top of his other shows that he's doing. So you, to me, have always been the standard of way too much work and like way too much stuff. And I don't know how you do all that much stuff.
I've like chilled out a little bit since then. I at one point, my absolute peak and any of my dad bod I blame on this period. I'm still fighting it. My absolute peak was during the pandemic. I was doing 5 hours of radio, 2 hours of The First every day.
That's
yeah.
How could that possibly be? Because that doesn't imply any show prep either.
No,
so there's no prep for that. That's 7 hours of just talking straight content. No time to think.
I think it was technically it was 3 hours of solo radio. An hour of that, I think we simulcast on The First, but then there was a separate show on The First that I was doing, and then 2 hours of local radio. Anyway, but we're actually here. So yes, was I a beast in the work department for a while? That would be true. But I wanted you to tell me, what do you think the most, like, we got people tuning in to listen to the news and what's happening in the world. So what's the most important thing in Mike Slater's world today? Like, what is the thing that you are most focused on? It can be news. It can be something else.
Yeah, I'll tell you. All right, I'll tell you one kind of not newsy thing, and then we can bring it into the news world. So every Monday, so I host, my main job is host of Breitbart News Daily on Sirius XM Patriot every morning from 6 to 9, which is great. Been doing that for a year. It's awesome. So every Monday at 6, it's 5 o'clock my time, Central Time Zone. It's like hard to, I don't know, what do you do at 5 a.m. on a Monday? You know, you're like moping and groggy and don't
go
really
back
want
to sleep.
Yeah, right. I mean, like, would you like hit it hard with Israel, Palestine? Like, I can't. So I was like, we got to do something different every Monday. So we started doing this gratitude segment. So we open up the phones, and it's a simple question: what are you grateful for? But it's not just a time filler. It's actually really important. So I think what we need to do to save this country, it's not through policy, although of course we need that. I think we need like a true revival in this country. I think we need to get back to virtue. We need more virtue in this country, individually and collectively. And it was Cicero who said that the parent of all virtues is gratitude. So it's the root and the foundation of all virtue. So we can't have virtue. We can't save the country if we don't have virtue. And Cicero says we can't have virtue if we don't have gratitude. So we need to work out our gratitude muscles and talk about things we're grateful for. And then as we've been doing that for like 2 months or so, I've gotten better at like being grateful for little things around me all the time, which has been nice. So we did today. It was Monday. And man, we had an hour. Usually we just do like 20 minutes or so just to kind of get going, get geared up. We did an hour of people calling in, talking about some really, really important things. And for some reason, somehow we got into this whole conversation about alcoholism and people who have been sober for 20 years, 2 years, who are now doing awesome things in their life. And this theme about wives came up, and just people grateful for their wives who haven't given up on them and who have stayed with them and fought for their marriage. And it was a really, really wonderful hour that I'm still sort of reeling from this morning, which leads me to my next question for you, because I don't get interviewed. I'm the interviewer. How is your marriage, man? How's married life? Because that was one of the pivot points.
Wow.
That was one of the pivot. I'm going hard on you, Buck, because that was one of your pivot points. No joke. When you first got married, and I was like, I don't think he can do all this work and be married.
Well, I do less work. I do less work now, which I hope my my various bosses don't hear that. But I'm not in the all out my career is my life phase that I was in for a number of years, which I don't. Yeah, which I don't really I don't really recommend. I don't know what to say. I mean, I love what I do, and so that made it easier. But I mean, there were sacrifices, and as I look back now, as somebody who got married at 41, do I wish I had gotten married younger and started a family? Probably, if I were just looking at the way that life tends to work out for people, and what I sort of see happening around me. But I would also put in the mix that, we do these things as we can, and each one of us has a pathway that we're making a lot of. Like, you make all these considerations, you do all this calculation as you go, and then you forget, I think, often what the calculations were in that moment, and later things can seem like they're a lot easier than they would have been at the time. That's kind of a hindsight is 2020 thing, right? You asked about marriage. Being married is great. My wife is awesome. I'm much more productive. I don't mean that in a necessarily even like a professional way, but just every day is about being the best version of me that I can be, and supporting my wife, and trying to build. And we talk about this very openly, like just trying to build the best day-to-day life together that we can. And, we're trying to start a family. We have not been blessed with a child yet, but we are certainly hopeful that will happen sometime this year. It has been about a year now, so we're hopeful that will happen. But being married is great, honestly. And, I don't know. I highly recommend it. I can't profess to be an expert. Like, there's some things I've done a lot of and can tell people, I've been in the trenches. Like, I'm a noob to marriage. So far it's amazing, and I highly recommend it.
I want to speak to that point in 1 second, but let me go back to one thing. It came up this morning. I can't find this clip. I was looking for it all day. Tucker Carlson was doing some interview somewhere. I can visualize it, but I can't find it. He said it's easy to sleep with a bunch of women that you meet on some dating app. Like, that's easy, but make the same woman happy for 30 years and then you're a man.
Yeah.
I love that. Like, that's like, you're growing up. Like, you just mentioned how you're becoming a better person. Like, you got married, man. You're just being a man. That's how that goes. I'll never forget, my dad passed away like 10 years ago, maybe a little more, like 12 years ago. And he loved my wife and girlfriend at the time. And I distinctly remember where I was when I called him to tell him. I couldn't wait because he was going to be so excited, and like, just the way he is. And I told him, I said, I'm going to propose to Steph. And he was silent. And I was like, uh-oh. Like, what truth is going to emerge? Like, we don't think she's right for the family, or what is it? And he didn't say it. He goes, now you're responsible for another person. And I was like, oh, it like hit me. Like, I was like, oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Yes, I know that. And then he was like, oh, it's amazing. So it's just growing up, man. And anyway, just to tie it into the news of the day.
Wait, hold on. I think you've stumbled on an important point, though. May I jump in here? I'm not sure.
Please.
We're kind of interviewing each other here, which I'm fine with. But I would just say, I don't like this. The older you can be, very old and very unwise and lacking in knowledge and virtue like that. So the older I get, the more I see. But the more I think I do accrue life wisdom, which does tend to come with age, right? Those things are not always correlated, but they tend to be. The root cause of so much bad stuff, simplest way to put it, misery, despair, divorce, drug addiction. I mean, go down. A lot of it is, I think, rooted in narcissism and the debasement of self that comes from people who, for whatever reason, and there are many reasons, have focused on themselves so much. And I think that more and more people will find, and actually the psychiatric literature is more supportive of this over time, that helping other people and showing kindness has positive psychological benefits for the person who does it. And that when you focus on other people, when you have responsibility for people, particularly your family and those who matter, you tend to have a purpose that gives you a sense of stability and a sense of meaning that endures irrespective of the fortunes of finance and life and health and all these things. But if your life is about, I have a lot of money, my wife is hot, I have a lot of friends, I have a fancy car, eventually what you find out is that stuff, one, is transient, is ephemeral at best, as it is for all of us, but also there will be other things that happen that are far more important than those things. And if those are the things that motivate you, your foundation is weak when the true challenges come. Do you know what I mean?
Do I know what you mean? You mentioned the psychological literature on that. It's biblical too, right? The Bible talks all about dying to self. And you can't be born again until you put off the old self and put on the new self. And there's that in a spiritual sense, but also that in just a normal day-to-day life as well. You got to get out of your head. You mentioned narcissism. That's one of my favorite Greek visuals. It was named after this guy Narcissus, who he saw this girl and he didn't find, he wasn't in love with her. She was in love with him. He was in love with her. But he found his true beauty when he looked into the reflection of the lake. Mm-hmm. And it was a reflection. He just couldn't, and he just stared at it forever. And then he died because he couldn't eat any food or drink any water. He just died. And it's like, that's so much of our world today is just narcissists. Yes. We literally have a thing called the selfie. And I think we just blew past the idea that the word selfie was invented. And the front facing camera, that's one of the worst things that's ever happened in our life. And it was just perfect for us. And that's going to be the death of us. There's no doubt. We are called to die to self.
I am guilty of having taken a selfie or two here or there with friends. I don't post solo selfies, but with friends or something out. And
Buck just doing the lips.
Or yeah, exactly, with doing the blue steel. But I would say that my criticism would be that it's not the act of a selfie or the notion of a selfie. It is the selfie culture that has been built around all of this, whereby there is a fixation with perception that exists out there in the ether or out there in the internet, and those people don't matter. Likes, clicks on a screen, and now we work in a business where crowd approbation is. It is how we make a living. So I'm aware of that. But ultimately, for me, it's, do people like the work? I think there's a difference between, do people like the work product that you are creating, and do you just want people to tell you how pretty you are? Right? Yeah. These are different things, or they're not the same thing. And I think that it's important for people I think that there's a lot of narcissism in our business. Quite honestly, I think there's we know it'd be a fascinating podcast. We could actually sit around and get people who are incredibly, I don't know how many of them have this degree of introspection and honesty, but I know for a fact that there are people who are incredibly successful at what we do, who are deeply miserable and wish that they had made different life choices.
Oh man, dude, that is so, and not just, but so many of these industries. Oh, I'm so glad you said that. I'll just share my go-to story on it. And we could do more. How much more do you want to chat? How much more time do we have?
I don't know. We're going to get into life. We got to do a real, you know what? You have a show. I'll come on your show. We could do a longer, because I just scheduled we do a 15, 20-minute podcast here.
Okay.
It's usually just news, quick hits, but you wanted to discuss the philosophy of life. So here I am. We want to do this. We'll do this. I just need to schedule it in for a different time.
Yeah, I don't do news. Breitbart News Daily. It's more newsy. That's not my scene.
Do you have a deep dive podcast that you do, where we talk about life and issues? Because I'll join you on that.
Yes, totally. So the best thing about Breitbart News Daily is, there's a couple of things, but one, it's on Sirius XM. So there's no commercials. It's just game on. We just do a 45-minute segment. And it's
nice.
Amazing. So it's long form. So yeah, you're always welcome there. Are you kidding me? We can do it there. But then I do have another podcast, if I can promote. It's called Politics by Faith. So the idea is we look at the politics of the day through the lens of the Bible and history. Combine these things into one. So that's the thing. If I were to promote one thing, that podcast, Politics by Faith, available on the iHeartRadio app and everywhere you listen. My go-to example of miserable / successful people is Hugh Hefner. So Hugh Hefner, it's God among men, and look at these parties, and look what he's doing. He's the luckiest man in the world. Whatever.
It was all so gross.
Man, disgusting when it came tumbling down. But it started because his mom never said "I love you," and he never hugged his mother. And then his fiance, when he went off to war, he came back and she was cheating on him with another man. So the two most important women in his life betrayed him in profound ways. So of course he went on to treat women like garbage and just went on to live this disgusting, gross life but was like heralded as the pinnacle of a man's life. Yeah. It's like, that it was all such a lie. He was miserable on the inside.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen that with him, and certainly a lot of people who are very wealthy and have a tremendous amount of celebrity. I know it's a cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason, right? I mean, when something is true a lot, it's because it has happened a lot, and people know it to be true. Hold on, wait. I speaking of the business, I got to pay some bills, and get to some of this sponsor stuff. Like, for example, I do love the Second Amendment. Do you own any firearms, by the way? Are you a firearms guy or no?
Yeah, my buddy, I asked my military guy how many weapons I should own, and he said you should own enough that are described as an arsenal.
That's fair. I like that actually.
It's a good
my older brother has an arsenal. I have more of like he could outfit a platoon. I could do like a fire squad pretty well. So
yeah, I don't want to have to respond, but I asked my father-in-law, father-in-law's dad, so older generation. I said, "How many guns do you own?" He goes, "I don't know." It's like, oh, that's the best. I love that answer. You're like, I lost count even. I'm not even sure.
Well, let me hop into Bear Creek Arsenal here. They're amazing. I went and visited them in North Carolina at their facility where they make all these guns. I've got 2 Bear Creek Arsenal rifles. I've got a pistol. They're Grizzly. The Grizzly is phenomenal. It's kind of like I don't know, a souped up Glock 19. It's got better grip, better handle, feels better. I like the weight distribution better. Go to Bear Creek Arsenal's website. See what they have. This is a veteran-owned and operated gun manufacturer here in North Carolina, all American, support the Second Amendment, and they're just great people, and they really want to give you the best, most reliable, accurate, durable firearms you can possibly get for prices that are truly mind-blowing. I mean, the value proposition for these guns, I've never seen anything like it. Go to bearcreekarsenal.com/Buck. Use my name, Buck, as your promo code. You'll get 10% off your first order. Exclusions apply. That's bearcreekarsenal.com/Buck. Use promo code Buck for 10% off your first order. So we only got a couple minutes.
How did you get a sponsor of a gun manufacturer?
Oh, it's amazing.
That's unbelievable.
I've got ARs from them now. I got pistol. It's amazing, dude. We got to hook you. What? You and I got to talk, buddy. You don't reach out to your old friend Buck. You know what I mean? It's like you got to reach across. I know you're a satellite radio guy, and I do terrestrial, but you can reach across the fence. You know, we can hang out. There's no prohibition. Over to our side. You know what I mean?
I'm checking out their website now. This is good stuff. All right,
that's amazing.
Good for you.
It's amazing. Honestly, like I love their products. They're the only thing I look at this, I'm like. So it's a little bit like, when you'll see like the version of something that's made, or, you'll see like Tylenol, and then there'll be like the sort of CVS Tylenol, and you're like, why is one? You realize like, well, this is the same product, except one of them has a name on it that makes it more expensive. Imagine if the Tylenol that was like the store brand was better, like actually, tasted better or whatever, and was cheaper, but people pay for the name, and that's why. We all know the famous gun manufacturers out there, but these guys at Bear Creek make awesome stuff. Anyway,
when you asked me about guns, I made that Arsenal joke. I didn't know that you were going to do a spot for Bear Creek Arsenal, so that just worked out too perfectly. Anyway,
that was awesome. Thank you. No, I appreciate that. We have before I have to hop, and then we'll set up a time where we can talk about life, because I think we're solving a lot of life's problems here. You got 3. I don't know. You got 3 minutes to tell everybody the most important things that come to mind. What do they need to know? Is everything going to be okay? Is 2024? Is Trump going to win? Is everything going to be all right?
Oh, things are going to get way, way, way worse. Way worse. That's my comforting thought, is that things are going to get way worse than they are now. So pace yourselves, everyone. Like, buck up. We got a long way to go. This is a new low, but it's not near rock bottom. That's my encouraging thought. The thing we're going to talk about on tomorrow's show is this new Pew poll, just to tie it into today's conversation, where they asked Biden supporters and Trump supporters like different life questions. And this one that was most concerning to me is exactly what we're talking about. It was, do you consider, here it is it good for society to promote marriage and having children? Is it beneficial to society to promote marriage and having children? And it's like, obviously, yes. Like, who's the person that says no? Only 19% of Biden voters say yes. Like, what? But only 54, 56%, 59% of Trump supporters say yes. Like, come on, people. Like, what do you mean? Is it good for society to promote marriage and children? What are we talking about? So we're going to make some big picture political points about that, because we are living on different planets, man. If we can't even agree on some of these basics.
Yeah. Marriage and children. Good stuff. I'm one of 4. I got to work. We got to catch up here. I don't have any yet, but we're working on it. I think 4 would be great. Number. If we can get to 2 or 3, that would be nice. But, it takes time, and Mother Nature has to, or the Almighty has to do his thing.
Exactly.
And hopefully it all works out. Dude, Slater, this has been fun. This has been fun.
Yep.
You let me know when you want me to come and hang out. We'll talk long form about whatever you want. And now, I know next time I'm going to make sure I schedule for time when I got nothing else afterwards. Because if you want to get like biblical and the meaning of life, we're going to need more than 15 minutes. But we'll solve
That's
everyone's...
all I do. That's all I do, man.
Deepest philosophical issue. So go check out the Mike Slater Show and check out his podcast and be a good person, because Mike is he's super nice. Now I'm gonna embarrass him. He's among the nicest people I have met in this business. Among the nicest. Mike Slater, true story. Like most friendly and reliably kind to people. Mike Slater. There you go. Man. So, that, and for me, that's high praise, by the way, because there are a lot of jackasses running around this business too. So, all right. Anyway, Slater, great to see you, man. Good luck to you, and we'll talk soon. Okay.
Do it again. Thanks, bro.
Take care.
See you, dude.